Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Vinayak here and I welcome you all for this webinar. Today our team is going to take you through the new feature introduced, multi-factor authentication in HCL Domino V12. This webinar is hosted by our HCL Software Digital Solutions organization. Next slide, please. Okay, let me introduce the team. So I'm the facilitator for today, and with me I have Suraj P, senior member from our support team as our speaker. We also have today on our panel senior technical members Raj, Rahul, Rajiv, and Srikant. Be informed this session is being recorded and all our participants would be on mute throughout the session. For any questions, clarifications, please feel free to post them on the questions section and our panelists would be happy to respond to them. For everyone's reference, we have uploaded the presentation in the handout section as well. Once again, I welcome you all, and now I would be handing it over to Suraj. Over to you, Suraj.
Thank you, Vinayak. Hello, everyone. Good day. This is Suraj. In this presentation, I am going to discuss about Domino multi-factor authentication. This is the agenda for this presentation. We will discuss about TOTP, then configuration, its different component, and how end users set up MFA. At the end, we will have a Q&A session where we can discuss if you have any question about these topics. Moving to next slide. TOTP or time-based one-time password is a computer algorithm that generates a one-time password which use current time as source. Let's look into how TOTP authentication works. To establish a TOTP authentication, the authenticate and the authenticator must pre-establish HOTP parameters along with two other TOTP parameters, that is, the time from which to start counting time steps. Default is 0, and an interval which will be used to calculate the value of the counter. Again, default is 30 seconds. Both the authenticator and the authenticate compute the TOTP value. Then the authenticator checks whether the TOTP value supplied by the authenticate matches the locally generated TOTP value. Once it matches, the authentication takes place. TOTP authentication provides an extra layer of security when users authenticate a Domino web server. User must have installed a TOTP-based application locally on a device or computer. Moving to next slide. Domino use TOTP-based multi-factor authentication, which is introduced in Domino 12 version. End user need to enter an additional time-based one-time password when they logging into the Domino web application along with the usual username and password. When TOTP is in use, the user's TOTP application and the user's Domino ID Vault server generate unique 6-digit token for a user that expire every 30 seconds. The user authenticates successfully when they provide a token generated by the TOTP application that matches the server generated one. Tokens are derived from a unique TOTP URI string that the ID Vault server creates for a user when they set up TOTP authentication. Web users set up TOTP authentication on their TOTP application when they logging into the web server first time. So during the first setup, the ID Vault server generate a TOTP URI. Moving to next slide. So let's look into the prerequisites to configure a multi-factor authentication. First, your Domino server version should be in V12. This includes your Vault server as well as web servers. ID vault should be configured and user's ID file should be uploaded to the Vault database. The ID vault database template should be in VTOL. So if you are upgrading the server from a lower version to VTOL, ensure to upgrade the ID vault database template also. You must have installed a TOTP-based application in your mobile or computer. For example, like Google Authenticator, OT, or Microsoft Authenticator, etc. And of course, you should have administered access to the Domino directory. Moving to the next slide. Here, this diagram will provide a basic information on how multi-factor authentication works in Domino. In the right side, you can see the Domino Vault server configured for TOTP, which is computing the TOTP using the configuration and the moving factor time. You can also see the web server which send the TOTP and current time to users Vault server for authentication purpose. On the other side, end user accessing the Domino web application and enter the token generated from the device or computer. Moving to next slide. So far, we discussed about the terminology for TOTP-based Domino MFA, and from here onwards, we will discuss about the configuration part. The very first step is to create multi-factor authentication certificate for TOTP. You need to run MFA mgmd command like the one mentioned here in the slide. That is MFA mgmd create trust set, then mention the organization you want to allow for MFA, then the set ID file name followed by the password for that particular set ID file. One important thing you need to remember that you should keep the set.id file in the Domino directory of the Vault server. Once the command runs successfully, you can verify the same from the certificate view of the Domino directory. So you can see one additional view added called as multi-factor authentication certificates. Another way to verify this by running the command show ID vault, which will give MFA trace for the correct organization. Next slide. The next step is to configure TOTP authentication in the configuration setting document. You can either create a new configuration document or use the existing one where your ID vault server belongs. Complete these steps under the Security tab of the configuration document. Under the Security tab, you can see a new option added for TOTP. First, enable TOTP for web authentication. Select yes for allow emergency scratch code. This option is useful if your TOTP application is unavailable in future once after the configuration. Then select yes if admin want to send email scratch code to user. So if you enable this option, an encrypted email with the scratch code sent to the user who configured TOTP first time. You can define maximum number of secrets. The default value is 3. Under the algorithm section, mention the algorithm used to generate tokens. The default is HMAC SHA-256. The ID Vault server support downgrading the HMAC algorithm by one level. For example, from HMAC SHA-256 to SHA-1. And that is the reason the default algorithm is mentioned as HMAC SHA-256. The username is automatically populated. Once done, save and close this configuration document. Moving to next slide. In the previous slide, we completed the configuration on the configuration document, and in this slide, we will see what are the configurations required for servers. We have 3 options to complete this. Based on your server setting, we can enable TOTP on server document, internet site document, or virtual server document. In the upcoming slide, we will discuss the first two options, that is enabling TOTP via server document and internet site document. Enabling through virtual server document is almost similar to others. Moving to next slide. If you controlling web authentication through a server document, enable TOTP on the server document. To do this, open the respective server document, go to the Internet Protocol Domino Web Engine tab. In the session authentication field, select either single server or multiple server. Important thing you need to note here is that TOTP is not supported for basic and SAML type of authentication. Now go to the Domino Access Service section and select TOTP in the enabled service. Next step is to enable TOTP in the web section of this server document. To do this, go to ports, internet ports. Under the web tab, select yes with TOTP for name and password authentication options. Next slide. In this slide, we will discuss in case you are controlling the web authentication through an internet site document. The first procedure is to enable session authentication to either single server or multiple server in the internet site document. Now in the configuration tab, enable put and delete method in the allowed method section. Enable TOTP in the Domino Access Service section. You can see the screenshot here. In the security tab of the internet site document, select yes with TOTP for name and password authentication. Moving to next slide. Optionally, you can enable secure mail operations such as encrypt, decrypt, or signing emails for web users. This need to be enabled through the security policy document where your ID Vault server configurations are enabled. In the ID Vault tab, select yes against allow TOTP authentication with ID Vault, and then select yes in allow password authentication with ID Vault. If all web users use TOTP in order to download the Notes ID, set this option to no. Now in the ID Vault configuration document, specify the servers that use ID Vault. To do this, open your ID Vault database, go to the configuration document, then select the Domino web servers in the trusted server field. Moving to next slide. In this slide, we will check how to configure a new login form for TOTP. First, create a new database called domcfg.nsf with the updated Domino web server configuration template from a VTOL server. In case you already have a domcfg database, ensure to replace the template design with VTOL server. From the sign-in form mapping view, click on Add Mapping to map the new TOTP login form. You can either create the mapping form for all websites or for any specific websites. In the mapping form, ensure to put the target database as domcfg.nsf and the form name should be login user form MFA. Now save and close this document. In the domcfg database ACL, make sure that the default entry selected to reader access with read public document. Moving to the next slide. Okay, so far we completed all the configuration from the server side and now need to restart the Vault server. Moving to next slide. Before proceeding to the end user configuration, we will look into some consideration for cross-domain TOTP authentication. Now you can enable TOTP authentication for users in a secondary Domino domain. The requirement is all participating servers in both domains should be in Domino 12 version, and a directory assistance is configured to look up names in the secondary Domino directory. The first step is to add the INI entry enable IDV cross-domain authentication equal to 1 into all web and ID Vault servers in the domain 1. Now you can complete all the TOTP configuration for the domain 1. In the secondary domain, follow the same procedure used for configuring enabling TOTP with an additional step to create MFA certificate for both domain 1 and domain 2 organization. It means we need to run the MFA MGMD command twice to create MFA authentication certificates. Once it's done, replicate the address book across the participating servers. Moving to next slide. In this slide, we will check the requirement and configuration for enabling TOTP on a Docker-based Domino servers. Create or replicate an ID Vault on Domino on Docker server since all the TOTP-based configurations are saved in the user ID Vault document. Ensure that the website that is running within the Docker container can accessible from the outside of the container. We recommended running Domino HTTP server with default internet site TLS and SNI enabled to connect to the host. Moving to the next slide. Okay, so we completed all the server-side configuration and now going to configure TOTP for an web user. So before proceeding further, you should have installed a TOTP-based application such as Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator on a mobile device or computer. Web user need to set up an account for TOTP when access a web application first time. To do this, click on Setup Multi-Factor Authentication. See the screenshot here on the right side. This will now allow you to put an account name. The account name is for identification purpose. You can put either your name or like on which device you are going to configure. For example, like iPhone, Android phone, etc. Once done, click on OK button to generate TOTP URI and QR code. You can use this TOTP URI or the QR code for completing rest of the configuration. Moving to next slide. With the TOTP application in your mobile device or computer, you can either scan the QR code or enter the TOTP URI which generated in the previous step. This will add the user account into the TOTP application. So your account is now added and you can generate a token from your TOTP application. Now enter the token that is generated from the TOTP application and click on Validate button to validate the token. Once the token is validated, you can see a window like the one mentioned here. You can see the second screenshot. Click on Copy All and save the scratch token to a secure location. These scratch tokens are available for you to use as a token in future if your device became unavailable, and you cannot reuse these scratch tokens. Now select I have copied the tokens to a secure location and click on Done to complete the user setup. Moving to next slide. So we completed the user setup and now it's time to test the TOTP based authentication. As usual, enter the username and password. Now enter the token that is generated from your TOTP based application. This will now allow you to log into the application if the credentials and token matches. Moving to next slide. In this slide, we will look into the options available for an administrator to administer the TOTP. From the ID Vault database, an administrator can view who all are set up for TOTP. This includes the number of devices where TOTP configured and the available scratch code count. As an administrator, you can reset the TOTP configuration for an end user. This can be performed either from the ID Vault database or from the admin client. To do this, select the user and click on Reset TOTP Configuration. Moving to the next slide. Let's look how an end user can manage TOTP from their side. A TOTP enabled user can manage few things such as add or remove TOTP device configuration, or configure a second device, or reset the scratch code from their side. As you see from the screenshot here, once the TOTP enabled and logged user click on Setup Multi-Factor Authentication, they will get additional options such as configure another account, lost scratch token, and reset the configuration. The end user can complete these requests based on their requirement. Moving to next slide. Here we will discuss few nodes.ini parameter for TOTP configuration. The first one is TOTP step size. As I mentioned in the initial slide of this presentation, the default value of token expression is 30 seconds. So if you want to change this, use this INI entry and put the value accordingly. But not one important thing, all TOTP applications are not honor these settings. Another one is TOTP time queue steps. Additional time allowed to accommodate time difference between the ID Vault server and the user device. The last one is enable IDV cross-domain authentication. This entry to be used if you are using TOTP for cross-domain infrastructure. The first two INI entries to be added on Vault server, and the last one need to be added on all Vault and web servers. Moving to next slide. Let's look into some troubleshooting steps. Here is some debug parameter to be added on web server and ID Vault server in case any issue with multi-factor authentication. When you come across any issue with TOTP-based authentication, we request to add this debug, reproduce the issue, and upload the console log to the HCL support case to investigate the issue further. Moving to next slide. We will look some common issue that may reported after the TOTP configuration. First one is not able to view the new UI for MFA where you put the token details. In this case, check the DOM-CFG database and the sign-in mapping form. Ensure the website that is mapped to the exact one mentioned in the TOTP configuration. Another one may be reported like UI shows incorrect credentials. Cross-verify if the username and password and the token generated are correct. Sometimes end users may configure multiple accounts in their device for different applications. So ensure that use the correct token. Moving to the next slide. There is one known issue identified, and the same is tracking under the SPR mentioned here. As I mentioned in the initial slide, the one of the requirement for TOTP based authentication is user ID should be in ID vault. But there is a wrong message like thank you for configuring your MFA device. Please log in again appears for non-vaulted users also, and the configuration never complete. This may confuse for end users. The message should be changed here for non-vaulted users. Our development team is working on this and will be fixed in an upcoming release. There are few enhancement requests also created in the AHA portal for TOTP, which will be considered in future based on other factors. I would like to highlight few of them here. One is set expiry date and limit number of codes generated for scratch code. Another request is to enable multi-factor authentication for Nodes client. And other one is customers looking for an option to customize MFA login form to add company name, logo, etc. That is not possible in the current version. And another one, end user can choose whether they want to set up TOTP or not. Moving to the next slide. Here is the product document that you can refer for multi-factor authentication. This document provides all the configuration steps that we discussed in this presentation. Okay, so with this, I completed with my presentation. Over to you, Vinayak, for Q&A and feedback. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Suraj. I would request our panelists to go through the questions and the responses for them, which have been posted in the question section. And also a request to our participants that while we are going through these responses, you would see a pop-up window on your screen on the poll questions. So seek your valuable feedback and response on them. Thanks.
All right, this is Raj. I'm going to read through some of the questions that's been posted in the chat section, although most of them were answered. In the interest of others benefiting from it, I'm going to read some of them now. There was a question that we could not answer during the session. Does MFA management support the CA process at all? Suraj, do you have an answer to that? Does MFA management support the CA process, the older version, not the newer cert manager process?
No, I don't have an answer right now, but I will check with the developers and get back on.
Okay, so we will do that. I don't see any other unanswered questions. There was some discussions around do we support TOTP in a traveler environment where the traveler runs in a different domain than the terminal environment where the TOTP is set up? The answer to that question is that we have not tested that yet. We would test that and then respond to that question via an update to the KA document that we're going to be posting for this session. Srikanth or Raju, is there any other unanswered questions, or do you want to add any more details to the questions that were already answered?
No, Raj, I think we covered the questions which were posted on the question window.
Okay. There's a new one came in regarding the scratch code storage. What constitutes secure storage and how can admin enforce the secure storage by the users? Well, there is no enforcement at this point in time as it is implemented today. It's really up to the user to copy them and then store them in any way that they are storing their passwords today. If you can, please put together an announcement request on the AHA site so that they can be looked at in the future.
So are we done with the questions?
There's one more just came in. If the safe links is in front of Domino, how can the TOTP secrets between safe links and Domino be synced so the users do not need two entries in their authenticator app? I believe we have some internal documentation around how to use safe links with the TOTP and things like that. I think that should cover it.
Raj, we can answer this question because recently we published a white paper on this, how we can set up a multi-factor authentication using safe links. So we can answer that question by providing a link to that white paper.
Okay, so we'll provide a link to that effect when we post a key article. Okay, so the answer is that I'm not sure if you're following Srikanth. He said the white paper does not really answer the question, though I think Martin is a CLR. We can connect with him and address his concern. Are there any other unanswered questions in the chat at all? Or anyone has any new questions, you can come off mute and ask them. Is it best practice to create a new web server doc to evaluation? Yes, you would want to do that so that you would not impact the existing user base. We've seen a customer doing that out of India. As long as you are in a Domino environment, you can create a new virtual server or website and assign a policy to that and things like that, so that you can evaluate before opening up this feature to the rest of the user community. Why do the cert need to be in the DD? It's not best practice.
I mean, I think DD means the Domino directory is what we're talking about. So, Suraj, you mentioned, right, that the cert needs to be in the Domino data.
Yeah, that may be a misunderstanding. It is not in the Domino directory. It is not in the names.nsf. It is in the path where you install your Domino server, because when you run the command, the cert ID and the password will be taken from there.
It's in the data folder rather, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Domino data.
It's a data folder. It's a current limitation, if you will. Hopefully that should go away. Are there any other questions before we close? If not, thanks so much for the discussion. It's quite lively. Back to you, Vinay.
Yes, thank you, Raj and Srikanth. Yeah, I think it was really, I appreciate participants, putting up those questions and making it very interactive. So to all the participants, we would be publishing a knowledge article which would have these presentation, this recording, as well as all the Q&A, what we have responded so far. So we'll publish it soon. So once again, thank you for your time, and looking forward to see you all again in our next upcoming webinar. Thank you. Thank you so much.